Published 16:53 Eastern Standard Time, the 5th of March 2018. Updated 20:32 Eastern Standard Time, the 5th of March 2018. Crystal Palace's players slumped to the ground as if they had lost a cup final. And in many ways they had. For more than an hour of Monday night's match, they led and had risen to mid-table, a creditable, safe 13th in the league. Now they were down among the dead men again, returned to the relegation zone, a point adrift of 17th-placed Southampton. Nemanja Matic's scorching half-volley from the edge of the area had ripped away even the lonely point they had hoped to salvage, and in stoppage time, too, Nemanja Matic whacks a late winner for Manchester United with a swing of his left boot to leave Selhurst Park stunned. The Serbia international struck through his laces and across the ball to help hit arrow into the top corner of the net. Matic celebrates after his stunning late goal gave United all 3 points and left hosts Palace dismayed. Manchester United's players rushed to the away fans after settling a frenetic tie away at Crystal Palace. To go second in the table, Manchester United star Juan Mata celebrates after his second-half cameo helped the visitors claim an unlikely victory. Crystal Palace's players looked dejected after falling to a late defeat that left them stranded in the relegation zone. Romelu Lukaku draws the visitors level with a low shot that took a deflection on its way through the crowded area. The Belgian striker punches the air after completing Manchester United's comeback from 2 goals down at Selhurst Park shortly after falling 2-0 down. Chris Smalling handed the visitors a lifeline by heading past Wayne Hennessy. 2-0 down, 3-2 up. Manchester United fans had forgotten nights like this existed. It has been so long since they came from behind to win when losing at the interval. They used to be famous for it. Not even a 3-0 deficit at Tottenham could contain them. Lately they have become infamous for meek surrenders or tepid draws. They have failed to win their last 28 league games if chasing a half-time reverse. So this was a throwback to the days of Sir Alex Ferguson when United, as one commentator had it, always scored. It may not make much difference this season, for the title is gone, but a year from now this may be regarded as a watershed victory under Jose Mourinho. He looked furious with the second Crystal Palace goal after 48 minutes, his opponents thinking quicker than his slumbering players, taking a swift free kick and racing away unchallenged. By the end, he was all smiles. He got the second-half response his scowls demanded, although a less frightened team than Palace may have been better at shutting him out. From the moment United began chasing the game in earnest, Palace's defence appeared an accident waiting to happen. The threat of relegation does that to a team. Having lost late against Tottenham, the fear of a repeat was plain. It was January 13 when Palace last won, and this will do nothing for their confidence. Andros Townsend gives hosts Palace an 11th-minute lead over United at Selhurst Park on Monday night. Townsend wheels away with one hand in the air after netting just his second goal of the 2017-18 season. The goalscorer is mobbed by his Palace teammates after his early strike made it the perfect start for the hosts. United star Alexis Sanchez collides with Palace goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy's groin area during the encounter. United fullback Ashley Young puts pressure on Palace midfielder Townsend during the early stages of the match. Palace defender Aaron Wan-Bissaka holds onto the ball and tries to shield it from the on-rushing Sanchez. Palace midfielder Luka Milivojevic shrugs off the challenge of Paul Pogba and looks to spread the ball to a teammate. United star Sanchez battles for a 50-50 challenge with opposite number 1 Bissaka during the Premier League game. Palace striker Alexander Sørloth strides forward with the ball after Matic took a tumble to the floor. United wing-back Young attempt to hold off the challenge of Palace midfielder Townsend. As for Romelu Lukaku, nobody was complaining about him scoring against the little teams on Monday night, except perhaps Roy Hodgson. Even without the match-winning third, Lukaku's 76th-minute equaliser would have spared United the embarrassment of recording their poorest league sequence away from home since January 1996, having lost at Spurs and Newcastle. A third straight league defeat would have represented a 22-year low. Instead it was Palace who recorded an unenviable entry in the annals. Lost 15, drawn 3. Their sequence of 18 games without a win against United is the longest of its kind in the Premier League. They must have thought the hoodoo was going to be broken. Instead heartbreak, but not of the unfortunate kind. The Matic shot, his first goal for United, was a thunderbolt, but what went before was sloppy from Palace. 2 goals that illustrated why they are in such a parlous position, undoing tremendous hard work and long spells of admirable resilience with lapses of concentration. A Chris Smalling header got United back in the game, taking full advantage of a sleepy James Tomkins, who stayed deep and played him and Paul Pogba onside. Antonio Valencia crossed and Smalling got there first, steering the gentlest header past Wayne Hennessy. Time seemed to stand still for the equaliser, too, after an Alexis Sanchez shot had ricocheted up off Tomkins. It fell to Lukaku, who seemed to have an age to turn and beat Hennessy with a low shot. Sluggishness is most certainly not a fault of United goalkeeper David De Gea, however, and moments later he pulled off one of the saves of the season to keep out a Christian Benteke header. Had that gone in, who knows if United would have had the fight to go again, or where Palace would be now. Who knows, indeed, where United would be at all without the brilliant De Gea. He changes games the way the best strikers do. Patrick Van Aanholt doubled Palace's lead just after the break after making the most of a quick free-kick routine. Van Aanholt is mobbed by teammates after making it 2-0 to the Eagles in the 48th minute of Monday night's game. United stars Pogba and Sanchez are caught deep in discussion as things fail to go their way at Selhurst Park. Pogba gesticulates towards a United teammate as Sanchez tries to offer him some needed encouragement. Sanchez clutches his ankle and screws his face up in a grimace after taking a heavy challenge in the second half. Chris Smalling gets on the end of a corner kick after another flap from Wayne Hennessy but cannot convert different in the first half. The complaint about Manchester United's grey shirts in 1996 was that the players could not see each other, and if a similar issue was identified with the current away kit, some of the more puzzling aspects of Monday night's performance would make sense. The early passing, for instance, from players of obvious quality, Pogba and Sanchez. Pogba struggled with his radar throughout the first half and Sanchez was not far behind him. At one point the Chilean had his head in his hands, having overhit a through ball so long it skipped into the crowd, fielded by a man in a red jacket. Sanchez's next pass trickled harmlessly into touch, beyond the reach of Valencia. It was completely out of character. Some would argue not so with Pogba, whose form since returning from injury has been checkered at best. This was no different. In odd moments, Pogba would look mighty, head up, an imposing physical specimen, powering through midfield. The next he would strike a crossfield ball, or some similarly ambitious attempt that would fly yards wide of its intended target, careless and misjudged, too strong or easily read and cut out. As his frustration grew, so did his determination to prove he was better than this, the passes growing more spectacular in intent and more likely to fail. His best work of the night, a dangerous cross from the right that slipped through Hennessy's hands, was also one of his simplest acts. Hodgson, meanwhile, must have been delighted with how determined and organised Palace were in these opening stages. Hennessy made up for his earlier mistakes with a two-handed save to deny Paul Pogba from long range. David De Gea makes a stunning one-handed save to deny Christian Benteke, putting Palace back ahead at 2-2. Opposite numbers Roy Hodgson and Jose Mourinho embrace in the dugout ahead of kick-off in South London. The first goal had a large element of good fortune, but Palace's work rate meant few could deny them the justice of the lead. They were ahead after 11 minutes, a spawny deflection, yes, but with no little graft to sweeten it. Benteke did magnificently, holding the ball up and leading Smalling a merry dance along the edge of the penalty area, before releasing a square pass to Andros Townsend. He pulled the trigger and the ball struck Victor Lindelof on the back, sending it up into the top corner, out of the reach of De Gea. At the time, Palace simply looked more alert and their second goal proved it. Jeffrey Schlupp won a free kick, put it down and took it immediately, slipping the ball through to Patrick Van Aanholt. United's players were variously regrouping, disengaged or appealing in vain for some imagined infringement Schlupp had committed, a speed of thought offence, perhaps. Van Aanholt was now in on goal with only De Gea to beat, and so expert was his finish that the goalkeeper stood feet planted, not even diving to try to save. Mourinho cursed furiously from the touchline, not at the advantage played, but the advantage taken of his dopey superstars. Wisely, they took the hint.